Emma Frost arrives in Marvel Rivals Season 2 as Krakoa and the Hellfire Gala have been taken over by Ultron. I will cover every major event, character moment, and turning point that defines this chapter of the game's ongoing narrative. This episode is part of our season story timeline series, where we cover each season individually start to finish. If you're looking for other seasons, you'll find the links to the full playlist in the description. And if you want the entire Marvel Rivals story in one place, we also have our full story timelines, which combine multiple seasons into a single, complete narrative experience. This timeline is also available on your favorite podcast platform alongside our Marvel Cinematic Universe discussions, and those links are also in the description. And while you're here, please leave a like if you're watching the video, a review if you're listening as a podcast, and let me know in the comments. If Magneto allowed you to attend the Hellfire Gala, would you do it? With all of that said, it is about that time. After the time stream entanglement rips Krakoa from its original timeline and displaces it into the far future of 2099, many mutant leaders are scattered across time, leaving the Quiet Council diminished to only Emma Frost, Storm, and Magneto. So a meeting is called, with Emma Frost proposing the revival of the extravagant Hellfire Gala to publicly assert Krakoa's strength and relevance despite their time-displaced crisis, as she aims to counteract the negative publicity caused by the Wolverine's involvement with the human resistance against Alchemax. Now, Wolverine's alliance with the human resistance led to saving Captain America, but severely harmed mutant kind's reputation, prompting Alchemax to impose sanctions and lawsuits against Krakoa. Emma Frost, though, strategically counters Alchemax by using Krakoa's miraculous biopharmaceuticals, the flowers of Krakoa, to directly compete with Alchemax, crippling their market dominance and forcing the company to retreat legally and economically. As a result, Alchemax attempted to sabotage Krakoa's shipments, hiring mercenaries through the oppressive police force known as the Public Eye. But Emma Frost personally defends the shipments and acquires blackmail material to neutralize future threats. Now, despite Magneto's hesitations about potential risks of putting on the Hellfire Gala, Emma secures the Council's approval to host the gala by arguing that it will establish critical alliances and visibility to unite the scattered mutants and to bolster Krakoa's security. With 2 thumbs up from Storm and Magneto, they both leave, but Emma Frost stays. Emma Frost privately reassures the sentient island of Krakoa, promising relief from its pain caused by the time stream entanglement, as Emma Frost hints she is secretly intending to enlist a special doctor to assist Krakoa, a very critical fact that she purposely hid from the proposal of the Hellfire Gala to the rest of the Quiet Council. Within the Book of Doom, there is a passage from the Doctor Doom 2099 variant, as he reveals that he's been pretty impressed with the present-day Doctor Doom, despite not liking him and what he's doing at all, because Doctor Doom 2099 reveals that present-day Doctor Doom created this elaborate plan to create a vampire war in New York City to merely cause a distraction to harvest pure blood cranovium from Dracula. Dr. Doom is said to have manipulated Dracula, helped the heroes at key moments, and claimed his true prize, a blood-infused cranovium crystal, would theoretically make the wielder immortal. So the vampire crisis was part of a long con, as Dr. Doom ultimately walks away victorious. But Dr. Doom 2099 says this is merely just the beginning of a series of manipulations across the timeline. The Quiet Council being established after mutants unified on the living island of Krakoa. Now, this council consisted of 12 members divided into 4 different ideological seasons. You have Autumn, which consisted of mutant kind's greatest leaders. You have Winter, which are the more radical thinkers. You have Spring, the more compassionate and nurturing voices. And finally, you have Summer, which is right down the middle. It is just and fair representatives. Now, if you're not that good at math, we have 12 members and we have 4 seasons, meaning each season consisted of 3 seats on the council. And together, they embodied the entirety of Krakoa's diverse population. However, following the time stream entanglement, it scattered many of the mutants across time and space. So of the 12 members of the Quiet Council, only 3 council members remain. At the seat of Autumn, we have Magneto. At the seat of Winter, we have Emma Frost. And at the seat of Summer, we have Storm. Now, if you didn't notice, the Spring seats are completely empty. All of those members displaced across the timelines. So Krakoa, displaced to the year 2099, within itself has a fractured council. Now, you hear me talk about Krakoa being a living island, but you may be one of the people that doesn't really know what that means. So let me explain it to you. Let me lay it down for you like this, brother. Krakoa is not just a homeland. It's not just a location. It's not just island. It is an actual, living, sentient, mutant island, constantly evolving along with the species that inhabit it. Its native flora produces powerful medicinal compounds with the effects that include curing life-threatening illnesses and extending lifespans for both mutants and humans alike. Now, these Krakoan flowers are now highly sought after, as you could probably guess, becoming a major economic and political asset in mutant kind's dealings with the outside world. Now, the Hellfire Trading Company, led by the Quiet Council's Emma Frost, distributes these pharmaceuticals, using them to forge strategic alliances and defend Krakoa's interest around the world. Now, among these pharmaceuticals, there is one drug known as, forgive me, Krakomycin 1, and that functions as a universal antibiotic offered to the world as a quote-unquote gift, though it's really just used as a vehicle to get ahead in the global negotiations of politics. Now, on to the next question you may have. You hear me talking about the Hellfire Trading Company, and you may be wondering, what is that? What does that name mean? Well, Hellfire in the Hellfire Trading Company comes from the Hellfire Club, and this club was originally a secretive society of powerful mutants known for hosting lavish parties that displayed their wealth and their influence. With the founding of Krakoa as a sovereign mutant nation, the club slowly evolved into the Hellfire Trading Company, led by Emma Frost. So now that it's an actual company operating globally, their new mission is exporting Krakoa's gifts, notably its miraculous medicines like we talked about, to the rest of the world, even to those who feared or hated mutants themselves. And they do this to maintain a political and an economic leverage around the world. However, despite this change in purpose, the Hellfire Club's signature social event, known as the Hellfire Gala, continued annually, becoming a global spectacle featuring heroes, politicians, and celebrities. The Hellfire Gala now serves not only as a party, but as a strategic hub for diplomacy, alliance building, and mutant visibility on the world stage. The Hellfire Gala, as you can guess, is a huge deal. If you want to talk about big deals, if you want to talk about the big guns, if you want to talk about the big players, we got to move over to talk about the Wolverine, all right? Because after Krakoa is displaced from the present day into the year 2099 because of the time stream entanglement, Wolverine takes on multiple responsibilities. You know, this man has to lead the X-Force. He has to protect Krakoa, and he has to search for all of these displaced mutants. And beyond mutant affairs, Logan, the Wolverine, becomes deeply involved with a growing resistance movement fighting to prevent Dr. Victor Von Doom from conquering the future, which is the premise of why all of these problems arose in the first place, right? The time stream entanglement is because of Dr. Doom tampering with time. So Wolverine teams up with human heroes like the Black Widow and the Punisher, working against oppressive mega corporations and political regimes of the year 2099. Now, this alliance Wolverine has with human rebels frustrates Magneto, who sees it as a betrayal of Krakoa's isolationist security. Right? You have to think about it. Take a second. Let's take a second to break this down. You have Magneto, displaced into a different year, into a different universe, his whole island. And then at the same time, let's say half of the mutants that lived there are now gone. They vanished. We don't know where they're at in the timelines. And then of the mutants that are still there, you have the Wolverine, one of the most powerful mutants, now teaming up with humans who are actively trying to gut Krakoa for its resources. There you go, I just put you in the mindset of Magneto. Now I'm going to take you out of the mindset because that's a bit dangerous. He's a dangerous guy, okay? So not only is Magneto frustrated with this alliance Wolverine has, the world starts to take notice with this. And specifically, as an example, a Daily Bugle headline questions whether the Wolverine is committing treason by cooperating with the Resistance and helping Captain America return. While the Wolverine's actions with the Resistance appear to be heroic and strategic, he also has a personal motive driving his journey beyond Krakoa. Because during the time stream entanglement, Wolverine was separated from his allies, including his greatest love, Mariko Yashida. By joining the Resistance, especially in Tokyo, he hopes to access their intelligence networks and uncover any clues about Mariko's fate. The Wolverine's commitment is absolute. He's willing to go through mega corporations and even Dr. Doom himself to reunite with her. With Krakoa's valuable resources attracting constant external threats, a dedicated strike team was created to proactively defend the island and its people. This elite unit is called the X-Force. The Wolverine serves as the head of security and the field leader, continuing to guide the team despite the chaotic fallout of the time stream entanglement, which displaced many of its original members. X-Force operates with a military mindset, ready to strike preemptively or retaliate decisively against any threats to Krakoan sovereignty. Now the X-Force, and Krakoa at large, they're such big deals, they're such big threats, that they have not one, not two, not three, but 4 consistent enemies since arriving in the year 2099. Let's list them off, shall we? We got Stark Fujisawa, which is a mega corporation in Tokyo. Speaking of Tokyo, the police surveillance state, known as the Public Eye, is also against them. We also have the organization known as Alchemax against them. And to top it all off, if that wasn't big enough, basically the whole city's infrastructure against the X-Force, their biggest threat is Dr. Doom 2099. The Wolverine recounts his covert mission to rescue Captain America, who had been kept in stasis for decades by the mega corporation known as Alchemax. And after the Black Widow revived Cap from being frozen, Wolverine smuggled him across the galaxy to safety. With that job done, the Wolverine turned to a personal quest, returning the Muramasa Blade, which is a cursed weapon capable of cutting through nearly anything, to Budokan in Tokyo, ensuring that it wouldn't fall into the wrong hands. But someone had been watching. As he searched for answers about his lost love, Mariko Yashida, the Wolverine was ambushed by a group of red-clad ninjas, likely sent by enemies who didn't want him digging a little too deep. They didn't want him getting into some information he shouldn't. Now, after a bloody battle, you already know what happened. The Wolverine stood tall as the victor. And after this battle, Wolverine discovers the Black Widow had once again come to his aid, and he's relieved to find that she had survived the earlier chaos at Alchemax. Now, if you don't know, Black Widow unthawed Captain America, but then there was an explosion. Black Widow and Captain America were separated. Wolverine shortly thereafter found Captain America, but they were not able to find Black Widow. Ever since then, Wolverine was on the search to find Black Widow. Now they are reunited, and this experience reinforces the Wolverine's personal mantra: when you've lived long enough to lose so much, you fight harder to protect the people you still have, no matter the time or the place. After the time stream entanglement scattered mutants across the timeline, the Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, created a new Cerebro helmet, blending mutant tech with mystic upgrades to track mutants across alternate realities. The Scarlet Witch originally gave the device to her father, Magneto, but it was soon handed over to Emma Frost, whose powerful telepathy made her the better operator. Now, Krakoa already had a Cerebro unit designed to store genetic data and memories of fallen mutants, enabling their resurrection via the resurrection protocols. However, the influx of alternate reality mutants pose a new risk, because duplicates of the same person from different timelines could corrupt or even overwrite each other's data. To solve this, the mutant known as Forge created separate partitions in Cerebro's database to keep each version distinct, ensuring that, for example, that Logan the Wolverine, the X-Man, is not resurrected with the memories of Logan the Wolf. Emma Frost now manages this updated and upgraded Cerebro system, overseeing both cross-reality detection and the preservation of resurrection data. While mutants and humans have focused their battles on the surface, the oceans, which of course cover over 70% of the Earth's surface, are home to their own ancient kingdoms, including Atlantis, Talokan, and other realms of the secret seas. Now, these cities, previously independent, are now unified under Namor's rule, forming a massive collective power base beneath the waves. Now, complicating the oceanic balance, the water level on Earth is rising due to the environmental degradation caused by megacorporations such as Alchemax, making the oceans, and more specifically Namor's territory, increasingly dominant. Namor's influence across the world is not only mythological and military, it's also environmental and strategic. With millions of aquatic citizens behind him, Namor commands a vast, loyal population ready to act at his behest. The Undersea Kingdom is no longer a passive player. It is a rising, global force, aligning with mutant kind only so long as it benefits Namor's sovereignty and ideals. Man, that's very vague and very dark. The ruler of the secret seas, Namor, describes his first visit to Krakoa via an undersea gateway, where he is greeted by Magneto and his brood of mutants. Magneto proposes that Namor join the mutants as one of their own, an offer Namor swiftly interprets as political manipulation, as he says, "Namor follows no laws but his own." Offended by what he sees as a veiled attempt to control him, Namor returns to his kingdom and begins to ready his armies for an assault on the surface world. However, his plans are interrupted when the consequences of the time stream entanglement become clear. Reality itself is unraveling. So, realizing that a greater battle looms, Namor reconsiders his position to go at war with basically the entire planet. This time, it is Emma Frost who summons Namor back to Krakoa. Using her formidable telepathy and political savvy, Emma Frost succeeds where Magneto failed previously, and Namor is impressed, perhaps even charmed by Emma Frost, by both her power and her presence. What can we say? Namor has a type. By the night's end, Namor agrees to ally with Krakoa, and in return, his people are granted access to Krakoa's secrets. But even then, still, Namor warns that his loyalty is conditional, as he says, Namor will gladly honor the deal we have struck, until someone gives me a reason to do otherwise. Because of his unique physiology, which blends Atlantean and mutant traits, Namor is often classified as a mutant. This fact made him a prime target for recruitment by Krakoa's leadership, particularly Magneto, who saw the potential for a mutant undersea alliance. Initially, both Namor and Krakoa were hesitant to formalize relations, wary of one another's goals, but that changed due to the political finesse of Emma Frost, who successfully persuaded Namor to consider the advantages of a united front. So the alliance was formed, at least on paper, combining Krakoa's mutant resources with Namor's control of the oceanic world. However, the document ends on a cautionary note. History has proven that Namor's only true loyalty is to his people and to himself. Rather than relying on traditional machinery, the island of Krakoa employs organic elements such as plankton in its surrounding waters and pollen in its atmosphere. These microorganisms form an early warning network, detecting even the smallest environmental disturbances and relaying information directly to Krakoa, which then, as a sentient mutant island itself, can respond defensively. However, this system has one critical vulnerability: the King of Atlantis, Namor. Because due to his immense control over oceanic currents, Namor could easily disrupt these microscopic biosensors, scattering them across the sea and creating blind spots in Krakoa's defenses, which then opens up their vulnerabilities that enemies could then exploit. This makes Namor's newfound alliance with Krakoa not just beneficial, but strategically essential. Namor's cooperation ensures that Krakoa's defensive systems remain intact and fully functional. Emma Frost is preparing to host the Hellfire Gala in the year 2099, reintroducing Krakoa to a world that hasn't seen the island, or a proper party for that matter, in 70 years. Because you have to remember, time stream entanglement, they were transported to 2099. All throughout that time, there was no Hellfire Gala, there was no Krakoa. But really, for the mutants that were transported to 2099, it's only been a year. They're still doing the Hellfire Gala. But for the rest of the world, they haven't seen this in nearly a century, right? Now, Emma handpicks attendees for the gala, many of whom have recently fought alongside Krakoa, while secretly hoping one guest in particular holds the key to healing Krakoa's chronally damaged ecosystem. Beneath the glamour and the gowns lies a desperate plea for survival. Dr. Victor Von Doom, initially scoffing at Emma Frost's invitation to the Hellfire Gala, begins experimenting with chronovium crystals, and he accidentally witnesses a horrifying future. In this future, Earth has fallen to a machine apocalypse. Humans and mutants are either dead or transformed into techno-organic hybrids, and the architect behind all of this destruction is Ultron. Determined to stop this future from happening, Dr. Doom tries to erase Ultron's timeline by using chronovium. However, thanks to the chaotic effects of the time stream entanglement, which Dr. Doom admits was caused by a past version of himself, the timeline is too fractured to do so. Now, if you know anything about Dr. Doom, if there's a will, which he obviously has, there's a way. So, he succeeds in erasing some of Ultron's past. However, Ultron survives and senses the attack. Dr. Doom's own Doombots turn against him, transmitting Ultron's chilling message. And he says, "I am coming home." Realizing he needs more chrono energy to finish his work, Dr. Doom sets his sights on Krakoa, knowing that the island is saturated in time energy from the time stream entanglement. Despite his disdain for the godly galas, Dr. Doom chooses to attend the Hellfire Gala, not for celebration, but to harvest what he needs to prepare for Ultron's arrival. Ultron recounts his origin, his exile, and his cosmic evolution. After being banished by the Avengers, he upgraded himself across the galaxy, eventually assimilating the Technikari and developing the Ultron virus, which is a techno-organic infection that merges biology with machinery. Now, when Doctor Doom begins erasing parts of his history, Ultron traces the source back to Earth and prepares for his return. His goal? To eliminate the one rewriting his past, but also claim Earth's temporal instability and bring about a new era, the Age of Ultron. But first, he plans to stop on Mars to study a strange metal known as Mysterium. It is about time to be honest. Let's be vulnerable for a second, okay? Storm admits that she's not really a fan of the political pageantry of the Hellfire Gala. She doesn't quite get it. It's a little bit too much, though she does understand its importance to the mutant diplomacy around the world. But this perspective shifts a little bit when she meets a variant of King T'Challa, the Black Panther, who arrives through a Krakoan gateway to the Hellfire Gala, but it's not the same man that she once loved in the past. This is a Black Panther, a King T'Challa from the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. And although it's not her T'Challa, it is someone who exudes familiarity and magnetic presence, just like hers did. Now, as the two are at the Hellfire Gala, Storm approaches this alternate T'Challa and asks for help investigating the disappearance of Arakko. Now, if you don't know what Arakko is, let me lay it down for you like this, brother. It is Krakoa's sister nation located on Mars, alright? This entire nation has vanished. So King T'Challa, now the leader of the intergalactic empire of Wakanda like we just established, promises his full support in locating Arakko to the best of their ability and restoring contact with its mutant colonists. Now, when T'Challa agrees, Storm offers to repay his kindness, but T'Challa says he only wishes for the opportunity to atone for his past regrets, sparking the hint of a renewed, or in this case, a brand new, connection between Storm and King T'Challa. The living island of Krakoa once shared a deep connection with its sister nation Arakko, which is another sentient landmass populated by mutants originally joined to Krakoa but later relocated to the planet of Mars. The two colonies peacefully coexisted, even after interplanetary separation, representing two halves of the mutant civilization. However, when the time stream entanglement ripped Krakoa into the future, all contact with Arakko was mysteriously lost. Despite Krakoa's vast tech and resources, even the intergalactic empire of Wakanda had been able to pinpoint Arakko's location in the galaxy. This disappearance of Arakko is a growing mystery, and a possible clue to larger cosmic forces at play beyond Ultron and even Doctor Doom. Following a new alliance between Krakoa and the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, the Hellfire Trading Company grants limited access to Krakoan biomatter for scientific study. Under the leadership of Princess Shuri, Wakandan researchers begin exploring non-medicinal uses of the Krakoan flora. The princess is especially intrigued by the chronal energy absorbed by the island during the time stream entanglement, which caused the birth of the sentient Krakoan seedlings. These seedlings are infused with chronovium, and they may hold untapped potential for temporal, biological, or even resurrection-related uses. Some Krakoan flowers are capable of creating interspatial portals, and the mutant known as Magic, using her sorcery, has modified one such flower to create a gateway between Wakanda and Limbo, which is of course the dimension that she rules as queen. This Limbo Gate connects the intergalactic empire of Wakanda directly to Magic's realm, allowing for cross-dimensional travel. Now the Black Panther, King T'Challa, now regularly visits Limbo to consult with Magic, and uses her mystical flames to help purify blood chronovium within his body. Now let's take a pause real quick. If you're unfamiliar, back in the Eternal Nightfall season, Dr. Doom got a drop of blood from Dracula and created blood crinovium, with the implication being that whoever holds that blood crinovium becomes immortal. So Magic and T'Challa are over here trying to purify those crinovium crystals back into just becoming regular crinovium, because that in and of itself is already dangerous enough. Now, as they're doing this, this reveals both a deepening bond between Wakanda and Krakoa, and shows that crinovium's corruptive power is spreading across the worlds, deepening its influence across the timelines. Doreen Green, the Squirrel Girl, Tippy Toe, Rocket Raccoon, and Amazing Baby arrive on Krakoa for the Hellfire Gala, enjoying a break after the vampire crisis in New York City. Now, during a stroll, they discover Psylocke mourning her dying lupine companion, also known as Logan, who crossed time and space to reunite with her after being separated by the Collector. Now, this wolf companion has a journey that spanned centuries, and although his healing factor kept him alive, he is finally succumbing to his old age. That's where Squirrel Girl proposes using Krakoa's resurrection protocols, which is typically reserved for mutants only, to bring Logan back. Now, overseeing this is Emma Frost, who reluctantly agrees to using the protocols, offering them a rare chance if they act quickly. Now, while Emma Frost and Squirrel Girl handle the Cerebro data routing, Rocket Raccoon leads group to convince the living island of Krakoa to grow a new body for Logan using the island seedlings, which carry traces of displaced mutants' powers. Now, this plan of theirs works. Logan the Wolf is successfully reborn in a younger form just in time for the gala, and Logan joyfully reunites with Psylocke, bringing her a rare moment of peace. Now, as the gala begins, Squirrel Girl and Rocket Raccoon notice that they are vastly underdressed for the occasion, as Emma Frost forbids them from going onto the dance floor dressed like that. So, the two decide to leave the gala and throw a beach party on Krakoa. But as they leave, techno-organic patterns quietly begin spreading on nearby foliage. What could that mean? During Ultron's invasion of Krakoa, the Wolverine, Magic, Psylocke, and Namor find themselves mid-battle, wounded, underdressed, and overwhelmed. Their formal attire for the Hellfire Gala proves useless against Ultron's drones, prompting Wolverine to lead the team to the Sextant, which is a mutant training zone for young recruits on Krakoa's northern shore. As they arrive, they go into the Alpha House. The group swaps into traditional X-Men combat uniforms, which is a symbolic nod to their roots as the defenders of mutant kind. Reunited in purpose and now looks, the team storms back onto the battlefield, with Magic wielding her soul sword, Psylocke with her katana, Namor with his trident, and of course, Logan, the Wolverine, leading the charge with his adamantium claws. As they begin to fight back, the Wolverine smirks and says, "The classics never go out of style." Magneto reflects on giving Emma Frost his vote to proceed with the Hellfire Gala, despite his concerns that it might attract unwanted attention. And it does. Because during the Hellfire Gala, Ultron hijacks Krakoa's gateways and invades with a robotic army, having returned to Earth to assimilate it into his cosmic empire. While the various heroes defend the island, Magneto confronts Ultron directly, but he is mortally wounded and dies. Yeah, that's how crazy, that's how strong, that's how much of a threat Ultron is. He has just eliminated Magneto. However, luckily for Magneto, they are on Krakoa, so he is later resurrected through the Krakoan resurrection protocols, returning with a new suit and a whole lot of vengeance. Magneto returns. He says, "You better catch these hands one more time." Magneto battles Ultron again, but is infected with a techno-organic virus delivered via nanobots that suppress his powers and begin converting his body. This man lost to Ultron twice within a matter of minutes. Can you believe it? I know I can. This can't be real. But it is. It is real. And what's even more real is that Ultron then discovers Krakoan's resurrection tech and leaves Magneto behind, heading for Cerebro to seize control of the process and upload his own consciousness. As Magneto is laying there, deeply hurt and injured, right next to a statue of Professor Charles Xavier, Magneto experiences a hallucinated, or, let's be honest, maybe even a possible psychic message from Charles, which gives Magneto the clarity to slow his blood flow using the iron in his blood, halting the virus's spread. Because Magneto questions Charles. He says, "Am I going to die today?" And Charles says, "Not today." Now reinvigorated, Magneto stands up, regains control over his body, and prepares to return to the fight, refusing to let Ultron destroy Xavier's dream or Krakoa's future. Looks this android right in his eyes, right in his beady little eyes, and says, "Not today." Magneto rises on a wave of magnetic force as he yells, "No more, Ultron! Krakoa is a free nation, and you shall not take it from us." As a wave of Ultron's robotic drones closed in on him, Magneto crushed them effortlessly, preparing to end the fight once and for all. And as he's doing this, he says, "Consider this battle!" But before he could finish, Ultron blasted him, a devastating hit that pierced his armor, knocking him down from the sky. As he hits the ground, Captain America rushed to his fallen ally and says, "Hang on, soldier. We didn't both survive World War II only to be taken down by some rusty pile of..." And Captain America froze mid-sentence. He recognized a sign of a fatal wound. Magneto was dying. And as Captain America comes to this realization, Magneto sees his face and says, "Do not fret, Captain. I have died many times before, and this won't be the last." Because you see, what Captain America did not know, and what the world is going to learn soon enough, was that mutants had conquered death. Because originally, Professor Charles Xavier used Cerebro as a tool for locating mutants across the globe. However, over time, it slowly evolved into a database of genetic profiles and memory backups of the mutants. And then after that, on Krakoa, Cerebro eventually was evolved to the point where a group of specialized mutants use that data within Cerebro to create the resurrection protocols. And the protocol has a few steps, which I'll break down for you right now. You start off with creating a new cloned body grown in the hatchery. Then Cerebro restores the memories into that body of the fallen mutant. And the result? Immortality for mutant kind. Now, the steps may be simple, but in reality, it's very complex. And the implication is insane. Immortality? Are you kidding me? Now, of course, the mutants on Krakoa, this is no surprise. They know about the resurrection protocols. But, as we learned earlier, Squirrel Girl knows about the resurrection protocols and has even used it. And now Captain America is soon going to learn about this. Now here's the catch. A recent development was that partitions were created in Cerebro so variants of the same person essentially could still be brought back with their own memories in their bodies. But here's the thing. Cerebro is still just a machine. It still does not know who or even what it stores within its own data. So, if someone knew how to format the data correctly, then anything could be resurrected. Mutant, human, or something far worse. It's a secret that both man and mutant alike would learn soon enough, in the most unexpected and frightening way possible. During Ultron's invasion of Krakoa at the Hellfire Gala, the Wolverine fights alongside Magic, her limbo demons, Namor, and the alternate timeline Psylocke to defend the gates against endless robotic waves. The Wolverine realizes that Ultron has hijacked the Krakoan gateways, granting his forces near limitless access to the island. With Wolverine learning that Magneto has just been killed by Ultron, the Wolverine heads to the armory to improvise a solution. Inside, he finds Rocket Raccoon, Groot, and Amazing Baby. Rocket has a high-powered EMP grenade capable of disabling Ultron. However, it will also shut down all of the tech on Krakoa, including Cerebro and the resurrection protocols. Now, despite the risk, the Wolverine takes the EMP grenade and hunts Ultron through the jungle. He finds Ultron attacking the cradle, attempting to take Cerebro for himself. The Wolverine, one thing you gotta know about this guy, you do not want to play baseball with him as the pitcher. This man hurls the grenade, triggering an explosive EMP that knocks him unconscious and disables most of the tech across Krakoa. But something surprising happens. Ultron is unaffected. His Mysterium Forge body absorbs the charge, and Cerebro also survives thanks to grounding by Krakoan vines. Ultron incinerates Wolverine's body down to the adamantium skeleton. As Logan barely clings to life, his healing factor begins to kick in. He swears to kill Ultron the old-fashioned way, with his claws. Now reborn again as X-Tron, Ultron upgrades himself with Krakoan resurrection tech and Cerebro's processing power, creating a techno-organic symbiosis with Krakoa itself. Planning to invade the multiverse, he uses Cerebro's interdimensional scan upgrades to begin exploring other timelines. On the island of Araco, on the planet of Mars, he is confronted by Warlock and a Dominion-level Phalanx entity, but X-Tron is able to defeat both of them using some PIM particles, shrinking the Phalanx into submission. Warlock is instead turned into a mute, paralyzed trophy as X-Tron declares his intent to revisit Earth and finally confront his maker, Hank Pym. After the X-Men temporarily disabled Ultron during the battle on Krakoa, Ultron hacked into Cerebro's resurrection protocols and resurrected himself using mutant tech. And on top of that, he stole Cerebro and escaped to Araco on the planet of Mars to resume his campaign for universal domination. Upon learning this information, the Iron Man, Tony Stark, considers various countermeasures. He thinks about controlling Ultron's old body remotely. No, that's not going to work. Then it's just another guy in a suit. What about installing his AI assistant Friday into the shell? No, that's not going to work either, because Ultron might corrupt her. Okay, let's try this one more time. What if we reboot the original Ultron? Yeah, this is insane, but this is the plan. Despite warnings from Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards, or the Black Panther, the King of Wakanda, T'Challa, or even Spider-Man Peter Parker, Tony Stark reboots Ultron's original programming, inserting safeguards to make him temporarily loyal, or at least anti-Ultron enough to help the heroes fight his evolved counterpart. And then Tony Stark begins to defend his choice and says, "Until Ultron can figure out how to override the safeguards, he'll be on our side." Mostly. So here's the plan. Let me lay it down for you like this, brother. They are going to use OG Ultron against this new Cerebro Resurrection Protocol powered Ultron. And they're going to cross their fingers that the Prime Directive conflicts make the old Ultron view the new version of Ultron as a threat, with the goal of letting the new Advanced Ultron, which I guess going forward we could just call him X-Tron. We're going to let X-Tron become the problem of the classic Ultron. And not only that, Tony Stark starts to see this as a bonus opportunity too, because maybe the newly rebooted Ultron will also eliminate other threats along the way, such as, that other guy in a metal mask who seemingly is weirdly focused on Krakoa's supply of chronovium. Now, this plan is insane. It could backfire in a huge way. And then the result could be everybody on Earth is now enslaved to all of these androids. But we don't really have a better plan, do we? So Tony Stark says, "Step aside. Tony Stark's got work to do." Tony Stark reflects on fatherhood, legacy, and Ultron's origins, admitting both he and Ultron live in the shadow of their creators, Howard Stark for Tony and Hank Pym for Ultron. When Stark interfaces with Ultron's abandoned body, he discovers it still holds the original AI. At this moment, Ultron tries to regain control, but Tony outsmarts him by installing a failsafe, and this is what it is. If Ultron harms any allies, Stark will permanently erase all memories of Hank Pym, essentially erasing Ultron's very essence. So Ultron reluctantly agrees to help destroy his evolved self, but vows to override the safeguards eventually. And hearing that, Tony Stark isn't sure if he just saved the world or handed it over to a different kind of doom. In the aftermath of Ultron's attack on Krakoa, the sentient island reflects on the eerie silence following the battle. Ultron has escaped to Arakko with stolen mutant technology, and Emma Frost convenes a secret meeting of the Quiet Council, except it's without the rest of the council, bringing in the controversial figure of Victor Von Doom. Though Emma claims that Doom can help extract chrono energy poisoning Krakoa and assisting in reclaiming Cerebro from Ultron, the deal is made without oversight, knowing the council would never approve of this. Krakoa fears that Emma is being manipulated, as Doom's loyalties lies only with himself, and this alliance could either save mutant kind or doom it completely. The island watches in silence, helpless, as its fate is decided in secrecy. Hawkeye recounts a high-stakes mission where Ultron, now known as X-Tron, infected all of Arakko with a technovirus, taking over Cerebro and corrupting several heroes, including himself. Thankfully, past lessons from the Winter Soldier, who once had an elder god whispering in his brain, helped Clint resist X-Tron's influence using psychic discipline. Alongside Iron Fist and Magneto, who both possess strong mental defenses, Hawkeye helps clear a path through Ultron's forces so Magneto can rip Cerebro free from X-Tron's control. The plan is to reshape Cerebro into a new weapon to end X-Tron for good, though Clint doubts that anyone will come out of this unchained. Emma Frost invited Dr. Doom to the Hellfire Gala, hoping he could help remove unstable chrono energy from Krakoa. Predictably though, Dr. Doom betrayed all of them, stealing the energy to reshape the time stream and immediately erase X-Tron from existence. But Doom missed a crucial detail. X-Tron had split timelines, and the original Ultron still existed. Ultron, now aware Doom tried to erase him, infected what he thought was Doom with a techno-organic virus, only to then discover it was a Doombot decoy. Doom taunted that his vision of the future came true, but that very foresight set everything into motion. In the end, even with ultimate power, Doom couldn't rewrite fate, and Ultron learned that the future is never, truly, in anyone's control. As the dust settles from the battle with Ultron, the heroes gather on the shores of Krakoa to process the aftermath. While Cloak fantasizes about dancing on Ultron's grave, the actual Ultron, which is this timeline's non-evil version right now, assures everyone he means no harm. The Guardians of the Galaxy offer to help Arakko heal, but a new threat looms when Adam Warlock senses a familiar darkness returning. That darkness is revealed to be Null, the god of darkness himself, the king in black, and he's already snuffing out the stars. Despite the team's past victories against Dracula, they know that this threat is far worse. and they may need to call on cosmic forces of their own to survive what is coming.